If you've been enjoying my small series of interesting Victorian knits, then I think you'll be pleased because this will be another one in that series. I have picked the name my Knitted Cabinet of Curiosities, and I do hope to eventually get a cabinet to put my curiosities in. My goal with knitting these curiosities is to try out some of the more outlandish designs I've seen in pattern books from the past, but I also want them to be somewhat useful. So I don't want to just knit something once and have it collect dust, but you know, the egg warmer we're actually taking out and using sometimes in our breakfasts on nicer days, and the coffee filter is something that I will use every time I want to drink coffee out of my vintage coffee maker. So this next one was something that I thought might be useful for my sewing up ahead. I do have a pin holder for when I'm sitting at my sewing machine, but a lot of my upcoming projects require some hand sewing, so I want a pin cushion to take around with me while I'm doing my hand sewing. So I was looking through some pattern books and I found a pattern for a pin cushion, but this one is in the shape of a carrot, which just, I loved it. I thought it was pretty funny, and so I wanted to try it out. It was described as a what's the word?
Brobdignagian.
Brobdignagian carrot. I'm not exactly sure 100% what that means. I think it comes from Gulliver's Travels, so it's like a large carrot pincushion, so hopefully it'll be a good size for me to use as I am hand sewing on my projects. To make this carrot pincushion, you're going to need 4 needles, a gradient of thread, as well as some green ribbon to make up the carrot top. You're going to be knitting this from the top down, so when you cast on the stitches, there won't be that many, and joining it in a circle is a little bit fiddly, but with some patience, I at least got it to work out. You might have also noticed that I decided to use embroidery thread. I didn't need a lot of yarn or thread for making this pincushion, and I personally saw in the store that it was more economical to buy embroidery thread rather than balls of yarn for this carrot. I don't personally knit a lot of things that are in an orange color, and I had a very nice selection of colors for a gradient for my carrot, starting from the darkest at the top to the lightest at the bottom. I tried to follow the suggested colors as closely as possible given the selection I had available. Once you've worked quite a ways down on the gradient of your carrot, you will get to the section that has you switch from knitting in the round to knitting flat. And this provides a little bit of a slit so that you can put the stuffing into your carrot after you finish knitting it up, and that will then be sewn shut once you're done. Here you can see the finished knitting portion of the carrot. Compared to my hand, I can already tell it's going to be quite large, and I'm really interested to see how big this is going to get after I use some stuffing. I had some polyfill left over from a project I had done a long time ago, so I decided to use that to stuff my carrot, but I'm sure I could have used plenty of other things that would be easy to stick a pin through. After I had added as much stuffing as I thought I needed, I went ahead and kind of tacked together the opening because I was having a hard time sewing it together a little bit more delicately with it spread so open from the stuffing, and then I took the time to more delicately sew it shut with the appropriate thread color. And that was my finished stuffed carrot. All that it needed was the ribbon to go around the top, and I really like how it turned out. It is definitely much bigger than I expected though. Okay, so I guess brobdignagian does mean very, very large. I was aware that brobdignagian meant gigantic or huge, but this is larger than my head. This is huge. And looking at the pattern a little bit more closely, it does say that it makes a nice conversation piece when you hang it on your Christmas tree. Honestly, I don't know how someone could not comment on this thing. This thing is huge, look at it. I also realized when I was reading the pattern more closely that this is not meant for sewing pins, but actually hat pins, which makes a lot more sense to have a nice big area to stick some maybe gifted hat pins through. Seeing that I want this to be a usable item going forward, and that I'm not going to be using this for my sewing pins, I have the idea that I'm going to use this to hold the brooches that I have. I bought a few vintage and antique brooches. I currently keep them in a drawer, but I really like looking at them even when I'm not wearing them, and I thought this might be a humorous way to display them. I actually have the perfect place to hang it. It's like a Christmas stocking. My Christmas carrot. I really like my springtime carrot that now hangs on my fireplace, and I took the time to pin all of the brooches that I could find to this carrot. Definitely makes it look a lot more unique, a lot more interesting. I'm on the fence on whether or not I particularly like it, but it definitely makes me smile every time I look at it. I think it looks really, really funny. I also find the suggestion to hang this on your Christmas tree really, really hilarious. At least for our family this year, we didn't buy a huge Christmas tree. We just had a bit of a small pine plant, and hanging that carrot on the pine plant definitely added another level of humor to it. I think the carrot was bigger than our tree. I can't wait to keep adding to my Knitted Cabinet of Curiosities. If you like videos like this, please feel free to subscribe, and I will see you again really, really soon with more projects like this, more work on my loungewear, and another few surprise projects that I haven't really mentioned anything about yet. I also will leave a link to the pattern in the description below, or other places to reach out to me or support me if you want to. See you next time.